I think we're live.
Yeah, I think we are.
We're live by itself.
Where's the microphone?
It went live by itself.
This thing's really getting to me. Mark, are you still here?
Yeah.
Are these charged?
It should be. We didn't use them.
We used them on Monday.
Yeah, like a second. Mark says I am.
Good. The live went live by itself. My microphone's on.
Yeah, but like start picking up sounds.
You're not even on yet.
I'm not even young yet.
So how are things going up there, Mark? Hey, Barry. Mark. Thank you for joining us. How are things going up there way north, Mark? Freezing rain. Wow. Are you prepared for that? Got all your important stuff inside? My cats and dogs? And other varmints?
Varmints?
What are you doing?
Putting the lighter.
Screen.
The lighter.
Make the light lighter. How can we only have 2 people in here when there's you, Mark, and Barry?
I didn't saw Barry say anything. Oh yeah, Barry's right here. Sorry.
That's weird.
Yeah, right here.
It says there's only 2 here.
Oh no, man.
You have birds, Mark? I hesitate to ask what kind. I'm definitely not a fan of birds.
Says the movie.
I could handle those birds. Those were outside birds. Tennis racket would have taken care of them.
No, I don't think so. There were too many.
Easy. No problem.
I like to fight tennis racket.
Well,
A 3-dog night? What is that?
that's a song, I think.
Mm.
With Mark, it would be many more dog night. He has a lot of dogs. A lot more than I have at this point. But man, if it's true that our pets are waiting for us when we die, I'm screwed. You want to turn the cars on?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Mark says, "Yep, zebra finches. I call them beepers."
Oh, little ones. Okay.
And 2 conures. I know conures. I don't know zebra finches.
Yeah, when my friend died in 2021, he had what birds were he? He had a parrot,
An African gray,
an African gray, and the macaw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a fan of birds at all.
Mark says, "Yep, 7 Dachshunds and 3 not so mini Australian Shepherds."
A friend of mine had, I think it was 2 min pins. They're just something just seems off, something not right about that. Miniature Doberman pinchers. Something just doesn't seem right about it.
Barry says he likes birds a lot.
Not me.
With barbecue sauce or just plain?
Barbecue sauce makes them taste really good.
I'm so mean.
I don't want an animal that's going to outlive me.
Fair.
I don't want that. No.
So no tortoises in your life?
Nope. And our tortoise did not outlive me. He disappeared somewhere. Desert tortoise we had. Yeah, the people that come in later miss all the good old stuff on this. This is a Chevy Suburban, 48 or something, 40, 46, something like that. It's a few different colors, but pretty nice truck.
Mark says T minus 2 days for my shipping container to arrive. Oh, full of cars?
No, he's getting an empty one to use it for storage. But what do you
Ah,
said half of it is going to be your shop. What are you going to do in your shop? What kind of stuff are you going to do? Build bird cages, maybe?
Mark says, lol, I wish, Mrs. Beck. Barry says, I have an Australian slash New Zealand dog, uh, Kelpie slash Huntaway cross.
I don't know what either of those two dogs are.
No. Mark says, not sure, but anything I need to work on.
Our dogs, all of them, have come to me and us from the street. So they're the definition of mutts. How many different breeds they have in them, only a laboratory would be able to tell us. And I thought it would be great to send the blood to a laboratory and get a list back of how many different breeds our dogs actually are. I never did it though. But even the big dogs lasted 15, 16, 17 years. So they had a pretty good life with me. The one dog, um, we called him Jack. He was within hours. He had to be within hours of dying. He was skin and bones, and he showed up in front of my house, not this house, but another house. I had my Durango parked right in the corner, and he came in and just laid down right in front of the right front wheel. And I picked him up. He didn't really weigh anything. He was a medium sized dog, but he didn't really weigh anything because he had no meat on him. And it could have gone either way. He could have been aggressive or not. He licked my face. I picked him up. He licked my face, and I knew he was a keeper. So took him to the vet, spent a bunch of money there. Then Mrs. Spec took care of him for a while because he had some kind of disease that he couldn't be around other dogs until that was taken care of. So he lived kind of on in a two-story house on the upstairs on the balcony until he was better, and then he was integrated into my pack, and he was everybody's favorite out of all the dogs I had. He was the favorite. When my son had a bring your pet to school day, he says, let's take Jack. So we took Jack to his school to show him off to everybody. He was have no idea what kind of dog he was, but the personality is what I'm interested in, not what breed or anything else about him.
I took him to the DMB once.
You did?
Yeah.
Why?
I think it was that day that we took him to school with Chris. So we left Chris's school and we went to the post office to do some post office stuff. And we needed to go to the DMB for something.
Oh
And we had him with us. I wasn't gonna leave him in the car, of course.
no.
So I just put the leash on him and walked to the DMB. And nobody told me anything. They looked at me and I guess they were wondering if he was like a service dog or something. I just walked in and I sat down and he sat down with me. And the guy is like the DMB guy is like, the guard didn't tell you anything. He's like, nope, he just let me through. He opened the door for me, so I don't know. Barry says he has also a female tabby with a poor attitude.
Oh well, you can fix the attitude.
Maybe he needs a new engine.
Cat.
I know, but the attitude. Barry says, why don't you like birds?
Well, because I had to take care of those birds sometimes, and They didn't like me. I didn't like them. I don't see a point to them other than to feed the cats. They make a mess everywhere. That's I'm not a bird person.
Colleen Tebow is here.
Hi, Colleen. Welcome.
Hold on, it's refreshing for some reason. Okay, okay. Um, Mark says, I find aggressive dogs will try to go behind you to attack you.
I haven't found that. There's street dogs all over the place here, and when we go out of our little cul-de-sac here to the left, there's two dogs that are always laying in front of this person's house. They might belong to that person. I'm not sure, but it's like their air conditioner drifts water, so it's a little bit cooler there. So this one dog, he would like follow everybody barking at them. So he did that to me, and I turned around and I put my hand in front of his nose, so he sniffed me and he put his head down for me to pet him. So now when I go past there, he just if he doesn't come over to me to get pet, he just kind of watches me as I go by. And then I went the other direction. I walked over to the pharmacy. I came back and went through one of these little cul-de-sacs, and there was a dog there protecting the cul-de-sac. And as I was walking, he kept walking up behind me, barking. So I turned around, took a step towards him. He goes backwards, came around the corner onto the street. He kept coming around, and I turned around and confronted him, and he went back the other way. So I guess I have alpha energy.
Mm, don't say that on the internet. Jay's here.
Hey, Jay.
Also, Josh Homan is here.
Welcome, Josh.
Jay says, hello, everyone. I'm driving. And Josh Homan says, good to be here. Good to have everyone join us.
Why are you always driving, Jay? You're like TK's garage. Every video he does, he's driving his car. This is an interesting car on the screen right now because it looks like a U.S. car, but it shows the Mexican um, ID plate on the door. This is a very pretty car, 54 Oldsmobile 98, top of the line 98. It's a very pretty car. Somebody has done a really good job either redoing this car or keeping it original. Unless it already passed the ID.
Mark says, to Barry, when I met my wife, she had a couple of nasty Quakers. They were loud. Quakers are bird, I think.
Quakers are a type of person.
No, I think they're
Like
birds.
there it is. There's the VIN inspection. I mean the VIN plate. General Motors of Mexico, Oldsmobile 98 MX-87. Very interesting. They put that plate on there.
Barry says, hope people give those dogs some food and water. The street dogs around here.
Yeah, so do I. The dogs were not skinny. They weren't like starving or anything. But they probably belonged to somebody in that cul-de-sac, but they just happened to be out at the time.
Mark says, yeah, if one tries to go around you, keep facing it. Don't turn your back to the aggressive dogs.
Well, I was walking away from the one to the right, and he wasn't. I can read the body language, and he wasn't going to attack. He was just telling me this is my area, but being an alpha, I won't accept that. Will not accept that.
Barry asked if we was talking about dogs. Lester's here.
Hey, Lester, welcome.
Mark says to Barry, Quakers, not quackers. Lol.
Another situation we had with a dog was my neighbor over here, and I'll leave the other names out. I think there's a little female Chihuahua that's his. I think he's the same guy that I stole a dog from because the dog was almost dead.
Well, stole is a strong word.
Well, I coaxed him out of his garage and took him to the vet and kept him. But this dog was out because he was doing construction to the house. The little dog was out barking, 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 but the dog is not fixed. So the dog went into heat, and not the smallest Chihuahua you've ever seen, but small. So these male street dogs would come over, and one of them happened to be, he looked like a pit bull, He had that head and everything. So the I got the little dog into the house area, but the pit bull wanted to come, wanted to get her. So I put myself in between the little dog and the pit bull, and he had the nerve to growl at me. So I jumped in front of him and growled back at him, and he turned around and went the other way. Him and his little friend went away. He didn't come back. But that is not allowed.
But the religious people,
Yes, yes, they're religious people.
I do see you growling at dogs too, at random dogs in the street.
Got my point across. Almost hit a deer. Why did you almost hit a deer?
Hmm?
Jay almost hit a deer. Right now?
What the hell, Jay? Pay attention.
Did it just jump out at you? And did it have friends?
Did it ask for money? Jay said yes.
Hope it has insurance.
Like, did you check the ingredients on this?
It's great value. It's the
Did
same
you check the ingredients on this?
same thing.
No. Barry says, I'm not wearing my reading glasses. They're different.
No, they're not. It's the same thing.
They're different.
Somebody tried to make this old Willys Jeep look newer, and that was rude because it's supposed to have the front flat fenders and all of that, but they wanted to make it look newer. Idiots. You don't put the name Jeep on a Willys. There's 1956 down there. 1956 Willys. How could they give it antique car plates when it's nowhere near 80% original?
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere near it. So what's everybody doing today apart from being here?
Oops, oops, oops. Hold on. Jeez. Get off of it. Sorry, my necklace got my microphone.
There's like 20 pictures of this thing. 8 people in here right now. Where is it? Where is everybody?
Oh yeah. The one thing that I was not keeping an eye out to buy is the one thing that has a great discount. And I didn't and bought it. I could have switched if I had realized I would have bought it. But um but no cigar. Um
Nobody's saying anything.
yeah. So I was gonna ask, like I guess the Buen Fin is only in Mexico, so they don't have the discounts. They will have Black Friday, but Black Friday hasn't happened because
We don't have
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving.
hasn't
Yeah.
happened yet. Um, Hollywood is here.
Hey, Hollywood. You finally caught one.
They say hello from Windsor, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
What?
In Canada. He's also from Canada.
Oh, I just got a bunch of messages. Dean Stevenson is here.
Hey, Dean. What's up?
They say Mrs. Ecstasy is always buying three new security
It's
door
away buying.
away. Oh, sorry, it's away buying three new security door handles. I hope she gives me the security codes. Oh, and I am person 88.5 because Kiwi? I don't know. Barry says, I found out recently that it's said like Willis, not Willis. I can't pronounce the difference. Sorry.
It's supposed to be Willie's.
But I'm going to stick with Willis. Uh,
Willie's.
well, I can't pronounce the difference. Hollywood says I did. Mark says a friend of mine does or did body work, had a Jeep CJ7 and had to cut out the rust behind one of the front wheels. Problem is Jeep quotations is stamped in the sheet metal. He
Hmm.
made a mold from the other side.
Yeah, it is.
Lester says I spent several hours today sorting through tools. And Josh says working on projects or at least trying. Mark says Kanukian?
Canuckian.
Kanukian. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Oh,
Lester,
from
I have to
Canada?
go out there to all my tools, and I'm dreading it. They're all sitting on the table. I have to organize all kinds of stuff, and I just don't have the energy to do it.
We need more, what do you call it?
Time in the day.
Fair, but no.
I don't know what you're asking.
Like the place to put the tools on.
Oh, tables?
Not tables, but like racks. Racks, that's what I was looking for.
Dean's starting already.
Hollywood says, are the 2001 RAM chargers able to be exported into the US?
Yes, if they were made in September, October, and November now. There is one that it's a stick shift. Yeah, it's a stick shift, and it is now able to be crossed because it was made in November of 2000. So yes, it can be.
Dean says, Barracuda, just like Worcester South, Worcester, I can't pronounce that.
Worcester.
Worcestershire sauce, dude. Okay. Jay says, hello, Hollywood. I'm across the lake from you in Buffalo, New York. Mark says, Mrs. Spec, a slang term from Canadian. Ah, it's kind of okay. Yeah, I remember when the third time I read it. Uh, Canuck. I put both together.
Kanakistan. Kanakistan.
Hollywood it says, hello, Jay. I'm across from Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit become human?
Michigan. No, there's nothing human in Detroit.
That's
Look
why
at
it's
look at
Detroit
this
become
car,
human.
guys. Two-tone blue and gold on the outside, orange on the inside.
Why?
Somebody really messed with this car. Somebody messed with this car big time.
Hollywood says 5.2 or 5.9 with the stick.
When a Ram Charger has a stick shift, it is a base model. You're lucky to get air conditioning. It'll have the 5.2 in it. I don't think they ever put a stick shift with a 5.9, from what I understand, in either country. It is a very nice truck, though. Very nice.
Dean Stevenson says something I cannot understand. I think it says hockey sticks rejoice. Hollywood says Detroit is turning around. Dean Stevenson says it's perfect Mexican Spectre. Hollywood says that's a clown car, lol.
You have to like colors if you want a Mexican car, just like their houses.
Jay says that's a Mexican spec color scheme.
Yep, it sure is. They didn't even make the car in orange, I don't think. Why they would paint blue on the outside when it's orange on the inside, I don't know. Somebody went through a lot of trouble to do that.
Lester says Uncle Tony's live with Danielle Solis, where you were a moderator, was really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of information got put out there.
Was it when they were ignoring you guys?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, he's talking about this last Wednesday where Dr. Art wasn't available, so Daniel Solis was on there, and we
Mm.
all had a good time. They actually read some of the questions.
Oh, cool.
When Scott from Cold War Motors gets on there, it's two old car guys talking, So we don't get a word in edgewise.
Will the Trail 4849 is here.
Hello, Will. Thank you for joining us.
Hollywood says, just curious on the stick. 70s Dutch trucks came with 360 stick.
Yeah, but they didn't do it with the Magnums. They didn't do it in the second gens. Because I remember Dougster saying he went to the dealer when it was new, and he tried to order a 5.9 with a stick shift, and they just would not make it for him. Even on a special order, they just wouldn't do it.
Mark says, blue paint was on sale.
I like the blue on the outside. The orange. If I got that car, the orange would have to go. The inside would have to be redone completely.
Jay says, yes, we did. I think it means that you got your questions across. Hollywood says, is there a lot of lowriders in Mexico?
Nope, there isn't. That's a California phenomenon, and you wouldn't want a lowrider here anyway with the condition of our roads and stuff. There are a few. I have published a few, a couple of Monte Carlos and Impalas and stuff like that, but it's not a big thing here.
Dean says, but Mrs. Mexican Spec, don't be reading all my questions or comments. Okay, you want me to ignore you then? Well, the Trail says, always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Jay says, what's that car?
The '59 Fairlane.
Are you still driving? Hollywood says, gotcha. Couldn't get a 360 stick in a car.
No, in the trucks, in the Ram trucks, Dodge Rams. They did the interior pretty nice in that '59 Ford. What? They cut the front of this thing out to put '79 Ford turn signals in there. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Josh says, that yellow car looks pretty nice.
It's in pretty good condition for a '59. Some of you guys weren't on Buff Del Campo's live on Tuesday, but I sent him pictures when on Sunday morning we took off to the border to deliver the Volkswagen Ormiga, and we're into the trip, and I'm driving, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I say to Mrs. Spec, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And she's like, "What?" And I pointed to the left, and as I pointed to the left, the car that passed me was a 1957 Dodge Coronet, two-door hardtop, blue and white, gorgeous car, and it just kept going. So I accelerated, tried to catch up, and then all of a sudden, this cloud of smoke comes from underneath the car, just boom, just fills up the whole highway.
It wasn't that much.
And then he kept going. Then it went away. He kept going. So we came up to a toll booth. I pulled in behind him. He paid his toll. He took off and then pulled to the right. He got out, opened his hood. So I go. She says, "Are you going to pull over?" And I said, "Well, I don't see any." Oh yeah, there's room. So I pull in behind him. I get out, start talking to him about his car. I ask him what engine's under the hood. He says 413. I says, "Oh, so somebody put the 413 in." Oh no. It has a 325. He opened the hood. It was a 325 with the Ram Charger or whatever exhaust manifolds. It's a really pretty engine, really nice, not a speck of oil on there. And he says, "I really can't understand where that smoke came from." I said, "Well, look at the transmission under there, because it had to have come from there." So he looks under the car, and he says, "Yep, there's transmission fluid coming out where the tube goes in, the dipstick tube goes in." So he said, "Okay, so it's nothing to worry about. A little bit just came out," because he was driving pretty good on the highway, so the transmission fluid may have heated up and was coming out there. So then he took off. I got his phone number. He has my number. He has my number. I have his number. So we'll get in contact at some point. And he took off, and I could not keep up with him. That 325 does really well out there, but it was a very pretty car. Supposedly he has 30 cars, that kind of car. So I'll get in touch with him, and maybe I'll offer some of them for sale, on my site, and see if I can get any buyers on them. Hopefully the paperwork is in order, because He was driving with license plates from 1978 and 1979. They were the blue and gold Mexican plates that where you had to get a new plate every 2 years, and which means the car has not been registered since that time, or it's probably not even in the system anymore. So, I wonder if all of his cars are like that, or how it would be to actually get current license plates on it or anything. That's a bridge we'd have to cross later, see what kind
Mhm.
of paperwork he has. But the car was imported into Mexico in the 70s from the U.S. and it's been here. It's been here ever since. So, but it's a very pretty car apart from the pitting on the chrome. That was a shame, but the sun is very hot here.
Yeah. Josh says my dad's '94 Ram had a 5.9 and a stick shift, so they were available.
Really, that's interesting.
Will the Trail says now which late '70s, early '80s mid-sized Chevy models came with the 350 V8?
All of them in Mexico because that's the only engine they had here. The only V8 engine they had. They What did they have in the mid 70s? They had Chevelles, which were a Malibu over there, and yeah, and then the G body Malibu, the Landau had a V8 in it, but and trucks, but there wasn't really a lot of options for cars here.
Barracuda says I should be mowing the lawns. Isn't that like a morning thing that you do like
If
really
you
early in
do
the
it in the
morning?
morning, then there's dew on it, so you can't cut it.
I never mowed the lawn. Sorry, I don't know. Dean says this is where Mexican Spec is going. They can't put 79 lights into an Econoline. Philistines.
Well, they had to cut the front sheet metal to do that, and it doesn't look right to me.
Uno's here and he says que esta birria.
Hey, Uno, hey, not to get off topic, but we tried to set up the Amazon wish list like you told me we should, or you told Mrs. Spec, but because people are clicking on it from other countries, then it goes to Amazon of their country, and then it says nothing is available for them to buy because those parts are in Mexico.
Yeah,
So don't know how we're gonna get around that.
it should be that you click the link and it should send you to the Mexican website, Amazon Mexico.
If you look on my YouTube channel on the posts or the community posts, I have it listed there. It's not a link you have to copy and paste it, but I had two different people. I had Mark here try it, and I had Buff try it. And with Mark in Canada, there was only two things that were available. All the other stuff that was in Mexico was not available for him to purchase. Just as not available. So I don't know. I don't know how that happened or what's going on with that.
I think it's you just have to make sure that you are in the Amazon Mexico website. So when you click on the link, you have to make sure that it's that you're clicking on that link, or when it's the app, that it doesn't switch you to
And when
your
you guys
country.
go in there, it keeps the prices in pesos. It doesn't convert them to dollars. So it looks like you're paying 2,000 whatever dollars for this thing when it's actually only pesos.
Yeah.
So
Uno says room for uno más, always uno.
siempre,
Hollywood says 325 engine.
yep, in a 57 Dodge.
Dean Stevenson says the 325 2BBL was a stout engine.
It ran really well. I could not keep up with it.
John Wilburn is here.
Hi, John.
Barry says Phil S. Steen.
Philistine.
Okay. Lester says people can drive with expired plates without problems.
They're looking for bigger things here, Lester. Nobody pays attention to any of that. Not speeders, not people crossing, changing lanes or anything.
Unless Christmas is approaching and they want money.
Well, yeah, but out on the highway, they're looking for smugglers. They're looking for much bigger things.
Yeah.
Like I said on the live when we were coming back, I think the whole time that we were on the road going north and about halfway coming back, I saw a total of 4 National Guard cars. Two of them were behind. They stopped a big rig on the way up there, I don't know what they were looking for, but the other ones I just driving around a little bit. They're not stopping people for speeding or anything else, issuing citations. And we do not have a highway patrol anymore. They got rid of them. National Guard is it now. But that changes every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe next year there'll be a different agency out there doing whatever. I have been stopped for speeding on that same coming down from Hermosillo, driving my 2005 Mustang, but we don't have that anymore. There's no highway patrol here.
Sorry. Dean says it's morning here. Uno says hola uno, hola mucha. Jay says hello to Uno. Then he says hello to this. Okay, hello. Dean says Mexican Spec just post them to New Zealand by proxy and they'll go to the US pronto. Remember my t-shirts arrived in New Zealand before they arrived in Mexico. Yeah, we could use the US website and just have it this address. The problem is the taxes because of the tariffs.
And the shipping, because
Yeah.
if the stuff is sent from the U.S., it takes a long time to get here, and then when it gets here, we have to pay taxes on it, and it's a whole big thing. If it's sent from the Mexican site, then it arrives at our door, and everything is included.
Yeah. Uno says should be able to add items to your list that will ship to you. They may need to click an international wall, so always say is what you listed. Call the website hotline and they will help or email. Yeah, I was trying to get them to assist me. The problem is that I work at night, so when I was trying to get them on the line, they were like, "Oh no, there's no one here. Call us in the morning." So,
Well, call them when you wake up.
um, Barry says, "I've never heard of the 325 CI cubic inch." Cubic inch.
Cubic inch. Yeah.
Uno says, "Did you see the difference between the Mexican lupo and the South American lupo?"
No, I haven't. But
Mm,
Lupo is a name that was used for a while here, and then it went away. It hasn't been a steady model from day one. It wasn't.
Dean says, "An A engine 313 or 318 with a large capacity. See, what's it like?"
You're reading it like you're an AI voice.
Sorry.
313 or 318. We say engine sizes in 318 like that.
Sorry.
I swear, guys, she's a real human being. She's not AI.
They've seen me in videos.
Yeah, they saw it. They saw her. You guys saw her arm when she was cleaning the windshield on Monday. So I can attest that her arm is real.
Only my arm. Mark says 4:34 p.m. here. Okay. Uno says, "What caliber do you carry on the roads?"
Caliber what? We're not allowed to have guns.
No, it's difficult in Mexico to have guns. Hollywood says, "Was that 325 a red Ram Hemi?"
I don't think so. It was not a Hemi engine, no.
Lester says, "Notice I was able to fix my name." Oh.
Yes.
Barry says, "New York is switching from police to social workers."
Yeah, good luck with that. The funeral cones will have a lot of business, that's for sure.
Uno says, "Is there a local parts store you use? Peppy Boys, Autometrico, El AutoZone." We do have AutoZone.
AutoZone is here, and O'Reilly, not O'Reilly's, but O'Reilly just opened up, but I have not been in the store yet. It's on the other side of town.
Yeah.
I know they have parts for old cars where AutoZone doesn't, so I'm gonna have to drive across town and get the parts over there or order them.
I think they just random comment here because I just remembered. They just opened the little the La Feria Artesanal
Oh, okay.
right next to it on the empty lot,
Mm,
so we could go and check it out.
okay. The, Notice the rear of this Econoline van, no doors, and it doesn't look like they were ever doors there.
But there were the
This one has no door handle,
hinges.
no door handle here either.
Didn't they have hinges?
I didn't see any hinges.
There's not. I can't. Those are no hinges?
Oh, I guess they are. Well, then never mind.
um, Dean says 10:35 a.m. here. The church bells are ringing, and I missed mass. Oh well. Mark says to Mexican Spec, lol, I just saw the message you sent me. Okay, Dean says that sounded really nice, Mrs. Mexican Spec. See, he likes my voice.
Hmm.
I don't sound like a robot. Barry says, I want to see more.
Robot.
Robot. Stop making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. That's how they say it in Futurama. That's how the robot says what he is. Robot in Futurama.
Josh says, I never suspected her of being AI. See? See?
Then you got fooled.
You're so rude. Uno says, difficult to get guns in Mexico. Ay caramba, have I got some new clips to show you? No, I didn't say it is difficult to get guns. I said it is not legal. It's not, we're not allowed to. They have it, yes, of course, they have it, but it's not legal. Dean says Mexican Spec has a Duraspark 2 hooked up to a cattle prod. Don't mess with the spec. Mm. Jay says, lol, I'm in New York, but the good part of me, of the state, citizens and police are armed. Ollie says, I see hinges. See? She said
Yeah,
they
well,
say hinges too.
okay. Well, then there were doors there.
hmm
They're just bonded over, I guess.
Mark also says hinges on the back. Dean says,
If there's no doors, are they really hinges?
yes. Dean says, stops the seven hippies escaping Mexican Spec.
Exactly.
Lester says, they welded the doors shut.
They did something because it doesn't look like there's bondo or anything. It looks like a completely smooth panel. So whoever did it right.
Hollywood says, rear doors welded shut. Uno says, set up accounts at the shops and maybe link their locations. People want to support you, make it easier.
What shops?
Autoson and O'Reilly.
Oh, well,
We'll have to look into it. I'm not sure how that one works. I've only worked with Amazon before.
AutoZone doesn't have anything for old cars here. And when I say that they don't have anything, they have removed the links, all of the information from the computer. I went there to get a fuel pump from my Slant 6 Plymouth. There's still tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of Slant 6s driving around the country. It's not even in the computer as something that they would have. They don't have any listings for the parts for old cars. They removed them all. I know O'Reilly does because I checked them out. I had them look for some stuff, and it was in the system, and they had the items.
Uno says que amo auto. Wait, what are you trying to say? I'm confused about that statement, or that question. Jay says, so you asked earlier why I'm driving all the time. My wife and son went to deliver my daughter's car. I almost hit the deer that crossed in front of me down the road from home, coming back home.
Are you in the Mitsubishi? Because that would be a bad day if you hit a deer that weighs more than your Mitsubishi.
Josh says there are hinges. They're hinges. They're not functional anymore. They're just not functional
Well, we,
anymore.
we can cut them off and bondo over it so there would be no hinges.
Mark says so Canadians will know about the auto part. So Canadians will know about the auto parts chain called Part Source. The reason behind this chain was because Pep Boys announced they were coming to Canada. Pep Boys backed out.
Mm-hmm. So they changed the name to something else.
Uno says Part Source is Canadian Tire.
Mm.
Lester says, sorry, I thought I heard something. Lester says all these things without prices are still useful.
Old listings.
Without prices are still useful.
Yes, but they're not listing. When you look for the fuel pump for the Plymouth, nothing comes up. They removed all of the listings in the computer.
All of the information is
All the
gone.
information is just like the car never existed. Fuel pumps, spark plugs, anything you could want for those old cars, It's not in their computer. They wouldn't know how to help you.
Hollywood says, wonder if AutoZone is going to eliminate all car parts in the future.
Well, it looks like they did here because I used to get old car parts from them, but everything is different now. Now I have to go across town or use the mom and pop places that I actually use. Rebuild an alternator instead of replacing it and stuff like that. Much better, much cheaper too.
Jay says, yes, in the Mitsubishi. It will be totaled.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark says, to uno, correct. Um, sorry. Jay says, Canadian Tire is impressive. Jay says, missing from the computer sounds like a CERN moment. CERN moment?
Mhm.
I don't know what that is. Hollywood says, does Rock Auto ship to Mexico?
Yes, but I don't like using that. I want to see parts. I don't want to order things online and then I have to ship it back when they're wrong because they're always wrong. I don't like that.
And wouldn't that be from the US?
Yeah.
And again, with the shipping issues. Mark says a manager I worked for a while back was sorry. A manager worked for a while back was going to manage a part source. He turned it down because he was expected to be there all working hours, and they were open 7 days a week. Wow.
Great. So I've told this story before, but on the black dart that I took north, the alternator went out a bit before I got to Nogales. So in the morning, I took it off, took a taxi over to an alternator place, and it took them about 15 minutes to rebuild the alternator, put it all back together, and replace the part that it needed, which they had there in stock. And then I put it back on the car, brought the car over to have the battery charged, and all of that cost me 1,000 pesos, which is a little over $50. If I tried to replace the alternator, it would have had to come from the U.S. and it would have been about 6,000 pesos for the alternator. So I'll have things rebuilt long before I'll replace them.
Sorry. Lester says, I meant it is a shame they removed them because they still are useful.
Yes, a lot of people have the engines and everything. They're just not going to go to AutoZone for the parts.
Dean says to Barry, what's it like? 25 of October 2024, Chrysler, 8 engine family. That's a lot of numbers. I'm not going to read.
All engines.
All engines. Have fun with cars. Sorry, Jay says, why do you keep pronouncing Mexico wrong, Mrs. Beck?
We've been through this, haven't we?
Hmm. Because I was born pronouncing it that way. Um, Dean says, see, Jay, I'm your engine advocate. Hollywood says, rebuilding shops are dwindling.
Yeah, not here though. I had the water pump rebuilt on that dart, and it was right around the same price. He put everything brand new in it, and worked really well. And it took about 3 hours to do. So yeah, I'm going that way instead of trying to find a replacement for all this stuff. Radiators are the same way.
Jay says, I'm just teasing you. Uno says, I think that's a tariff fight. The classic parts not available. Things will uh, even back out soon.
Well, the parts are made here in Mexico, so they're available here. AutoZone just chooses not to service old cars anymore. And unfortunately, I have AutoZones all around me, and the one that has the parts I need is all the way across town. But that's how things are.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you, the guy in Hermosillo, the that's where we stop, right? Yeah, Hermosillo. When we get off the highway and have to come around under the highway and make a right turn, O'Reilly is right there on the right side. They're very helpful. You go in there, you say, I need this. They'll try to find you whatever part you need. Because I was trying to put an overflow tank on the Dart, and they look through all of their stuff. And, will this work? Will that work? Here's this. Here's that. See, they went through all that stuff, and they're very helpful. The AutoZone guys don't know nothing.
Uno says Mexico is español for, I'm assuming Mexico. Wait, lol. Uh, you hear her say Texas or Texas? Yeah, we do say Texas in Mexico. We pronounce it Texas. Hollywood says I had to get a brake booster rebuilt for my 82 Rampage. Nobody carried a new or remain.
Reman. All of those cars have been gone for years. I wouldn't expect to find an NOS one anywhere.
Jay says Hollywood, I agree. We sent an electric motor to one of my only rebuilding shops in town. 8 weeks lead time to get it looked at.
Jesus, 8 weeks.
Mark,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
stop. Mark says careful now, lol. I'm a parts guy.
But do you know what you're talking about?
Hollywood says mom and pop parts stores are knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm. Because they've been doing it for so long.
I know.
Read it.
Texas, what part of Mexico is that?
It's northern Mexico,
It's the one that you stole.
and everybody knows. Everybody knows it's northern Mexico.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't stolen as much as it was given away, but anyway. Mark says to Hollywood, there is a guy in southern Ontario that rebuilds brakes boosters. So I need another coffee. Mark says, indeed, I know what I'm talking about most of the time. The more recent stuff is getting sketchy.
There's no parts for more recent stuff because you have to take it to the dealer and code it to the vehicle.
Hmm.
So why would they buy it from a parts store?
Jay says the Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo Bills, and the Parts guy are going to be my pallbearers when I die. Barry says Elderbrook used to make a tri-power slash six-pack type manifold for the 318 Poly. I know someone who imported one from America.
On this Maverick, guys, this is a 1970 model, the first year. Pay attention when you see the rear end of the car and look at what it says there. They put that there so the buying public would know that it's going from the Falcon to the Maverick. It's the same car, just the continuation of the Falcon. And they left that emblem on there for a couple of years. 3-speed manual on the tree, but it is a V8 car.
Mm. Hollywood says to Mark, would that be Jon Stewart? Mark answers, yes, sir. Dean says, lol, I'll have to tell Just Mopar Joe and Duddy's YouTube guy from Texas that Northern Mexico, right on.
But Joe Smopar Joe is in Arkansas.
Hollywood says, that's where my booster was rebuilt. Lol. Mark says to Hollywood, good place to deal with. Jay says, the second part of that is so they can let me down one last time after I die, too. Dean says he has horns.
There we are, the Falcon emblem on the back of our Maverick,
Why?
just so the public knew that this was the continuation of the Falcon,
Mm.
the next generation of the Falcon.
Hmm. Uno says Rampage was a Challenger, which was an Omni, which was a Mitsubishi. So look up the part numbers and cross-reference Mitsu numbers. Also, a site called Kruber sells GDM classic parts in America.
You know that's not correct.
You know?
Uno. The Challenger was a Mitsubishi car, but the Omni, the Rampage, those were all American cars. It had nothing to do with Mitsubishi at all. It had the 2.2 American engine in it. Had no Mitsubishi parts on it at all. The Chargers, it was a Charger. Rampage was a Charger actually, but it was not a Mitsubishi car at all.
Mark says Arkansas.
Yep, Arkansas. That's how it's spelled, right?
Um, Dean says, wait, no, I thought he was northern Mexican.
He's in Arkansas, so it's near there, but no claim to it.
Hollywood says Rampage is an L body with Omni and Charger.
Challenger is a Mitsubishi, a
Challenger is not.
Mitsubishi Galant actually. It's a very different engine, very different vehicle and everything. There's a Challenger here, a Mitsubishi Challenger here if anybody wants one. It's pretty cheap, but I'm not sure I want to go out to that town to get it.
Jay says my best friend had Rampages. They were the American Subaru Baja.
They were the American Subaru Brat. Baja came much later, but yes, and it didn't sell well. Nothing like the El Camino or a Ranchero.
Dean says so that's why Ed's machines and Just Moper Joe are so close. Arkansas, I never knew.
Arkansas. I was joking.
Well, now that's how I said. It's your fault. Jay says I thought Mitsubishi had something to do with the Rampage too.
I don't see what. The Rampage was a Charger with the rear end cut off, and the Charger was all American through and through. That's what made it so crappy.
Dean says Ark and think it's ours. And Dean says nice hair territory, Barracuda. Hollywood says Challenger slash Sapporo.
Yeah, the Dodge Challenger and the Plymouth Sapporo. Those were on sale at the same time. They're neat little cars.
Josh says Omnis and Horizons were American built and derived from French Simca Horizons.
Yeah, they were just the a guy named Dane. He has a detailing channel on YouTube, and he detailed this Dodge Rampage that was sitting in the barn for 30 years or so. And I of course I commented because all of them that I had dealings with, the inside door handles broke off, the outside door handles broke off. You couldn't really get into the cars. On this one, he couldn't get the hood open. He pulling on the hood release, the hood thing, it just wouldn't open. That's how they were made. They were just crappy all along. And of course, you had people come in there. I had one and it was fine. Yeah, but listen to the guy that bought and sold cars at the time that had multiple ones that he saw at auctions and stuff. You couldn't get into the cars because the door handles were broken. Not somebody that had one that had good luck with it or that didn't abuse it. A good car is one that holds together even when it's not taken care of. And the Horizons and all of those cars just did not hold together no matter what you did.
Jay says lol. Mark says didn't sell well because they were K cars in disguise. Lol.
Yep.
Jay says the six-cylinder engine was Mitsubishi. PJ Kylie is here.
Hey, KJ.
Okay, Jay, sorry.
Welcome.
They say, hey, Mex and Mrs. Mexican Spec. Mrs. Mex, sorry. Hollywood says Dangerous Town.
Most of Sinaloa, where we live, is dangerous. This is in Guamuchil, so I'm not sure how the road is going out there or how the town is at this point. There's a lot of bad stuff going on right now.
Barry says in Australian, the brat is a Brumby wild
Brumby.
horse.
Did they have the rear seats in them, Barracuda, out there, like they put for the U.S.? The only reason they put them in the U.S. in the back of the truck in the U.S. is to avoid the chicken tax. I'm just wondering if they had them out there too.
Jay says Rampage was the name of my friend's AA/FD front engine nitro dragster when I started put crewing in the early 1990s.
There should be pit crewing.
Okay.
Does anybody know what the Plymouth version of the Rampage was? I do.
Dean says, except the US L cars were not the same as the French Simca underneath. The US cars had not longitudinal torsion bars. The USA versions had a compound crank axle and McPherson struts. McPherson struts. Jay says, lots of bad hombres.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to be publishing this 71 satellite soon, and I just noticed that it has a gear shift lever, it has a column lever, and it has a floor shift lever. So I have to ask them what's going on there. It's a 318 car.
Uh, Hollywood says, Rampage hood release and door handles work fine. Locks are seized.
No, they break off. They're really weak handles. The inside door handles were thin pieces of plastic, and the outside handles were metal, but pot metal. They were really bad. I saw a lot of them with broken handles.
Mm, I think it's a mosquito right here.
KJ Colley is correct.
Camp?
Yeah, Plymouth Scamp.
What? There's a mosquito here.
Plymouth Plymouth Scamp was the Plymouth version of the Dodge Rampage.
Chris is here.
Chris who?
Chris Freemason.
Oh,
Why do you always ask me Chris who?
Chris New York. What? Just
There's a mosquito. Um, Mark says so. It's a fake GTX as well.
it's not a GTX. It's just a satellite. But I first noticed the shift, the automatic shift lever on the floor, but then I noticed it also had the column shift lever. So somebody put the column, the center console with the shift lever in there. I just wonder if it's hooked. Now I'm wondering if it's even hooked up.
Chris says, did you say 71 satellite? Two door or four door?
Two door. It is a two door. I'll be publishing it at some point. It's on my list.
Uno says, do you know why there was a chicken tax?
Yes, I know the history. The whatever country was charging the U.S. I think it was Japan charging U.S. Taxes on chickens that we were sending over there. So we charged them on any trucks coming in.
Barry says, the Brad slash Brumby I'm thinking of has no room for a rear seat.
Well, the Subaru Brat was a pickup truck, and in the U.S. it had two rear-facing seats with handles on them that you could hold on, and because of that, it was a passenger vehicle, and there was no tax charged on them. Let me get my zapper. Can't see anything.
There's a mosquito biting us relentlessly. Uh,
You see it flying around?
I saw it, but
It'll come back. They always do.
Barry says, no wait. Dean says at least they won't have problems changing gears. Mexican Spec.
Changing what gears?
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss something?
No.
With the two gear shift levers?
Yeah.
They're probably not both hooked up. I'll have to see which one. I'll have to, when I get to it, I'll ask some questions. They want a lot of money for it, of course, because it's a 71 satellite. I never saw the allure in those cars. After the 70, 69, and 70 model, they could not improve on it.
Ollie says Shelby built a Rampage Street Fighter that was scrapped.
Are you sure? It was never sold to the public because there are no Shelby Ram Chargers, or I mean Rampages. Because this one looked like it had the turbo engine, it had the turbo hood, it had the Shelby front end on it, but none of that came on the truck from the factory. They didn't sell a Shelby Rampage, I don't think. This car's here in Los Mochis. I think we might go look at it.
Mm. Chris says, I'm sure feeling the love, low.
Chris, I saw you.
Hollywood says, I'm saying how my rampage is. It's from North Carolina.
Got it. I think it was a fly though.
No, definitely beat me. Chris says, wait, no. Mark says, my body has a roadrunner of that body style.
The 71.
Jay says, rear facing seats. Yes.
Serve the purpose.
Mark says, rear facing seats is the truck in the truck bed, by the way.
Yes. I wouldn't want to be back there with somebody driving it around.
Right there. Over there. On your knee. It's in your knee. I think you got it.
I got something.
Um,
Don't mind me. I'm just zapping stuff here.
Jay says, don't let him zap you, Mrs. Peck. I'm trying not to, but he doesn't care about my feelings.
When I'm going after a mosquito, get out of my way. The cats know better. They run.
Mark says, lol, maybe there was two transmissions in it.
We'll see. We'll see what answer the guy has.
Jay says, take control of the zapper, Mrs. Peck, and get that fly when it lands on Mexican Peck.
It's a mosquito, not a fly though. I think I got it because it landed on my leg and I zapped it. And I zapped. I think I got two of them. So I think we're safe for now.
Chris says, 71 Satellite two-door is my fave muscle car era mopar. Muscle car era mopar.
I won't judge you for that, Chris.
You're so rude.
I just never saw the allure to them. Very odd styling.
Dean Stevenson is hungry. He wants tacos. Uno says, someone just found that one of one Shelby GTO, I'm assuming Turbo Rampage.
It's a glow. That's an L.
Okay. Is there a Shelby Glow?
I don't know.
Uno says
GLH.
GLH,
Oh,
not
okay.
Glow. Okay.
Yeah, that was never sold to the public.
Okay, so someone just found that one of one Shelby GLH Turbo Rampage.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says they didn't officially sell a Shelby Rampage, but Shelby did build a few of them. Mark says, strange looking front seats in that Mustang too.
Strange. They're very bright. I notice on this Maverick that's on the screen, they blocked out the side marker lights.
Yeah.
That's easy to cut them out, put them right back in. You do not want a black car completely blacked out at night.
Hollywood says, I have pics of it in California junkyard. Shelby Street Fighter was a concept, front end was unique.
Mm.
Barracuda says, I'm partial to a 65 Belvedere.
65 Belvedere, that's the same body style as my 63 Fury.
Mark says, to Mexican Spec, yes, I believe his is a 71 as well.
Nice.
KJ says, 5 lug wheels on that Mustang too.
Somebody changed some stuff. It is a V8. KJ, it's of course it's a Mexican car, so it's a V8 302. It's here in my town, so I may go look at it. Get some videos and pictures of it.
Mark says, I almost bought a Duster exactly like that as my third vehicle. Then Mark says, Mosquito.
Yeah, the Dusters are solid cars with the right engine.
Dean says, Cattle Prod and Chrysler solid state ignition, Mexican Spectre. Uno says, I think it was GLH/S or X and had a wicked body kit. There were also some drawings of next generation Rampage on the Daytona platform,
Hmm.
not the shadow round flush headlights made a rad look.
That would have been interesting. A Daytona pickup truck. They even painted the license plate on this thing, blue, white, and red. You're not allowed to do that.
Uno says tacos, I will take 12, please.
12.
I'm not making tacos, I'm making soup. I'm making sopa de milpa, which has corn and chilies and mushrooms and
Mushrooms.
mushrooms.
Mushroom.
Mushrooms. Chris says that's a rather handsome Maverick.
Very black. I like the wheels though. Those five spoke wheels will go on any Ford.
Hollywood says, "Are you sure it's not a direct connection Rampage?" Mark says, "I'm saying that Maverick has fiberglass fenders."
Which one? The Maverick?
hmm Maverick. I'm saying that Maverick has fiberglass fenders.
Why would you say that?
Uno says that's the average condition of those Falcon Mavericks. Are they expensive or beaten up?
What?
Uno says, what's the average condition of those Falcon Mavericks? Are they expensive or beaten up?
There's some in worse condition, but they're not an economy car here. They were Mexico's muscle car, so they're not cheap here. I mean, what do you pay for a V8 stick shift Maverick anyway if you can find one in really nice condition over there in the US? Very few were made like that. Stick shift on the floor. They were more of an economy car over there.
Mark says, tacos? Where?
Everywhere, Mark. They
Chris
are everywhere.
Chris says, what? No esquites tonight? No, I'm not having. I was thinking about having esquites tonight, but I'm not having them because tomorrow I'm going to the book fair. There's a first day of the book fair, and I want to save my money for that.
That's at the plaza, right?
I think they're gonna have it at the where the library is.
Oh,
I think they moved it
oh,
this time. I think so. I had to
oh.
confirm, but
I'm
yeah,
smelling ribs.
that's what I was telling you. That's what I
I
was
know
inviting
that.
you
I
over.
know that.
Anyway,
It didn't get past me.
um, Jay says chorizo sausage in it, Mrs. Spec. Now I'm hungry. KJ says many 1969 to 1973 Imperials down there. It's a
None,
question.
none, zero. That car was never sold here. Chryslers were never sold here. We had Dodge and we had a few Plymouths, but no top of the line cars were utilitarian here. There were very few luxury cars sold here.
Barry says I've been described as a handsome maverick. Okay.
By who?
Mark says because there is a spot for the side marker lights, but not cut out.
Yes, but somebody filled it. It's not that it was built like that because the quarter panels are exactly the same. Somebody went out of their way to fill it and then paint over where they used to be. This van here that I'm going to be publishing this one pretty soon. 1977 Plymouth long wheelbase passenger van. It's in very nice condition, but it's a Plymouth, so pretty rare.
Jay says, "What kind of books are you buying?" I like fantasy, um, but I don't know. I have to go and see because uh, I actually like reading in English. I don't like reading in Spanish, so I had to go and see what they have in English this time. So, but I could buy other things. Mark says, "Crushed velour interior." Why are they calling me from Ohio? Sorry, I got a phone call from Ohio.
I don't know why
Um,
people are calling you from there.
Chris says, "How popular was the Chrysler Shadow down there?"
The Shadow was sold here. Most of them were automatics. But if you got the top of the line card, I think it had the turbo with the stick shift in it. Of course, I would never even offer one with an automatic. That's just asking for trouble.
Jay says, by a blind girl, perhaps. By a blind girl? Books? What? Hey, Jay, are you just still driving or did you get home? I think you got home, but I want to confirm. Hollywood says 1981 to 1983 Imperials were never sold in Mexico.
No, Chryslers were never sold in Mexico, even though everything was called a Chrysler. The Chrysler Valiant, Duster, stuff like that. But the actual Chrysler models, well, the Chrysler LeBaron was, but we called it a Phantom. One will be coming up on here at some point. A Chrysler Phantom.
Mark says, wow, Plymouth van.
I
Mark,
want I want a van like that, but it's a little bit too big to be keeping around here.
Mark says, Mexican green interior.
It's U.S. green interior because it's from the U.S. We never sold vans here either.
Uno says, those Falcon Mavericks are about 8 to 11 grand Canadian, so 325K pesos.
No, 325,000 pesos would be about $15,000.
But he's talking Canadian.
Were they Falcon Mavericks up there, Uno? Did they have the Falcon name on them in 70 and 71?
Hollywood says that Plymouth van Windsor or St. Louis built.
I would have no way of knowing.
Josh Homan says Plymouth vans were not that common here in America either.
Nope, everybody bought the Dodge, but they did. They were available at Plymouth. Try to replace that grill today. You never find one. Like
Jay
Mercury trucks.
Jay says Harlequin books are distributed near me, Mrs. Spec. I bought like once those books. It was like a set of 2 for 1. They're okay-ish, I guess. I was only buying it for I was curious about what they were because they were selling them everywhere. Um, but no, the last book that I read was actually called A Discovery of Witches, which is also a series in Netflix if you want to go see it. Um, yeah, I like the book. I have the it's a series, so I got the rest of the books on my wish list because I wanna keep continue reading. I wanna continue reading the series. KJ says, if I was president of Mexico, I would have an Imperial.
I run across a few ex-presidents' cars, and one of them was a Lincoln Continental,
Ow, ow,
and
ow.
another one was a Chrysler 300 1964 letter car with a stick shift in it. But yeah, they brought in luxury cars from the U.S. for their thing, but I haven't seen an Imperial here.
Dean says, Ohio.
Yeah, she's getting calls from all over the U.S. for some reason.
I think it's because I have my LinkedIn active and they're just calling me to ask me about jobs and stuff to offer me jobs, but I'm not sure. Una says, yes, B8, 4 speed. There was a lot of straight six, 3 speeds up here too.
Hmm.
There you go. I managed. Mark says, my 73 Dodge, quotations, van was a Fargo.
It had the Fargo name on it.
Una also asked about Ohio. Jay says, I'm home. The blind girl reference was to Barracuda, but you were behind it, lost in context. Hollywood says, Mirada or Cordoba sold in Mexico.
Not sold here, but there are a few of them here. 81, the 81 model. I haven't published any because they're in generally not the greatest condition.
Mark says, no, didn't have the Falcon on the in Canada.
Hmm. Okay.
Barry says, I could take exception to that. Chevy Hemi is here.
Chevy Hemi, hey, good to see you.
And they say, woof, woof, woof. Oops, wrong shot. Hi. Dean says, "Well, Barracuda is a classy, well-rounded guy, so he'll pay it, not mind fun." Uno says, "No, just Maverick or Mercury Comet." Chevy Hemi says, "Aspen, I had a 76."
This is a Super B actually, but being an F body, he's it's just too much money for an F body, and there's something about it just doesn't scream original to me. The car has been worked over, so it is a stick shift though.
Hollywood says, "Seventh character in the VIN, J. Windsor S. St. Louis."
I haven't seen the VIN on it yet.
Chris says, sorry, Jay says, "Lol." Chevy says, "Hey, hey." Dean
Hey
says,
Chevy Hemi, do you hear my dogs barking? I have two dogs. Do you hear them barking? No, that's because they're behaved. They wouldn't dare bark like that.
"Park."
Mrs. Spec will, but the dogs won't.
Dean says, "Dumb and Dumber, we're going to Aspen."
Yeah.
Barracuda says, "California, beautiful." Hollywood says, "That was the Plymouth version of the Super B." What was the Plymouth version of the Super B?
Here there was no Plymouth version. You got a Chrysler Super B and that's it. Because it had Plymouth parts on it and it had Dodge parts on it.
Dan E-Boy says, "Hola, amigos."
Hola Dan,
Hey,
¿cómo estás?
Dan. Dean Stevenson says, "Pissed off, upset Ferrari parts dealers have targeted Whistling Diesel, I'm guessing."
The IRS did. I heard.
Chevy Hemi says, "Haha, Tony needs lessons, lol."
I've tried Chevy. I'm not gonna comment on that. I could get myself in trouble.
Dean says, "What about some shut up sticks?"
My dogs don't need shut up sticks. They just shut up by themselves
Let
because
me,
they know better.
I'm gonna go get myself another coffee. I'll be right back. Um,
Coffee.
yeah,
You
well,
have what's in the pink thing?
in the pink thing there's water, but I want, and it's not coffee, it's called golden milk.
Dan says serves whistling diesel right for effing up nice trucks. Yeah, exactly. Barry Kudo says to find Mary Samsonite. Mrs. Speck needs her coffee. I don't know why it's decaffeinated, but anyway, kind of defeats the purpose. But there you go. And believe it or not, this car on the screen, also called Dodge Dart. Jay wants to know how many videos do you think Whistling Diesel will get out of this? I don't watch him. I don't know anything about him. Chevy Hemi, all I drink is tea all day. Oh, life is no tea no. I don't drink tea. Yeah, that's a Diplomat over there, but you notice it has the Dodge Aspen front end on it, or maybe that's a Plymouth Volare front end. That's how they mixed up the cars here. So they just put a Dart name on it. The story goes that the government only allowed the dealerships to sell 3 models at the same time. So when the Javelin went out, the Gremlin came in to be sold. So we didn't have 1970 Gremlins, we had 1974 Gremlins. So Chrysler put the Dart name on just about anything that was on the lot. So they could sell many different types of cars, but they were all Dart. They were all named Dart. Let's see. Diplomat here, yes. Hollywood. Whistling Diesel has too much money to mess with. Yeah, that's why the IRS went after him and took him into custody because they want that money. Two-door Diplomat, yes. Jay. Chevy Hemi, haha. Molson's was my first drink years ago. Yeah, I never got into that either. Hollywood. Was the Dart Mexican built? Yes. At the time, the vehicles had to be made in Mexico with Mexican built parts. So they chose to put those parts on it. They put an Aspen front end or a Volare front end on a two-door Diplomat, and that's how they sold it. Then the next year they changed it. The next year after that they changed it again. So but they're unique cars. Barracuda, I'm an Earl Grey man. Is that because you're in Australia or in that area? Jay says, Molson Canadian, I drink a lot of them, and XXX. It's supposed to be dos X, no tres X. Chevy Hemi. Hey, Earl. Chevy. My email is Mr. 24Mike. Jay says, I like Earl Grey. I don't understand this tea thing. So many different flavors and it all tastes like garbage to me. Chevy Hemi. Plymouth had a lot of green cars, I found. In the 70s, everything was green. Jay. I like Dos Equis too. Hollywood. There is a Molson XXX beer. Well, I wouldn't know. I don't drink beer. Don't have that thing in my life. Chris. I don't do the tea thing either. Mo Parquet, welcome. Got my radiator out. Did all kinds of stuff come out of it when you pulled it out? Chevy Hemi. I know, right? Green. Dean. Australians had XXXX beer. Cuatro X. Cuatro X. Mo Parquet. It looks great. Water went clear through. That's great. Are you going to have it rotted out and everything? Rotted. Dean Stevenson. X to the fourth power. Chevy Hemi. Chevy Hemi. Dean, I slept in my backyard loads of times on XXX. Mo Parquet. A little bit of stuff nasty, yes. Jay. Hello, Kay. You playing? Mo Parquet. But 10 seconds clear. Dean. Nice. Mo Parquet. Mo Parquet. Oh, that's a good idea. Mark. Molson Dry came in 4 different alcohol contents. Oh, look at this! Look at this gremlin on the screen. You will not see a nicer gremlin anywhere. Unfortunately, it's an automatic. Mo Parquet. I didn't know it was an option, so I am in step 1, just pulling stuff in order and replacement hoses. I don't even know if you have a place around you that will rot out the radiator. Okay, most of the places just don't even bother with it anymore. Dean Stevenson, Mo Parquet, don't play, but she does do everything all at once together. All together. Mo Parquet, I'm not playing. Chevy Hemi, Dry was a fave for a while. Mo Parquet, Dean, I can't do. Dean, that's foreign beer, Mexican Spec. How could you? How could I what? I don't have anything to do with any beer. Uno, what can we do to make the show possibly more interactive for you? I.e., another phone, camera. How could you show us what you're talking about? And we could send stuff to share also. Solar panel, lights. I don't know. We're not really set up like Buff is, where you can send stuff in and we can show it. Although I don't know, Mrs. Speck will have to think about that.
What do you mean?
Chris, that Grammy have 304. There are no V8 engines, AMC V8 engines in Mexico, Chris. Unfortunately, it has the 4.2 liter, not the 4.6 either. Chris, forgot about Dry. Spent most of my 19th year on Earth in Fort Erie and Niagara Falls, Canada. Mo Parquet. Anyways, how are you doing today? We're fine. Mrs. Speck just got her second cup of coffee, which I don't understand because it's decaffeinated.
It's not coffee.
You just said you're gonna go get coffee.
I said I'm gonna get a drink.
You said coffee. You specifically said coffee. Back me up, guys. 78 or 77, 78 Gremlin, i6 or 304. Hollywood, we don't have V8s in those cars in Mexico, so they were all 6 cylinders. The upper line AMC type cars got the 4.6 liter engine, which is what I have in my car out here. Mark, I'm sure Buff would rot it out if you are close to him. If he has the stuff still. Chevy Hemi. 304 for me, of course. Mopar. Buff about 5 hours away. Mopar K. Would be fun to go up there. Dean. Oh, Chevy. Mark. Mopar K. That's not too bad. Makes for a very long day, though. Chevy Hemi. I'm in Canada. Welland. You're in Canada too, Chevy Hemi? What's with all you guys being in Canada? Uno. I remember Molson Dry, Black Death, Bronze Death, Silver Death, and Gray Death. All terrible.
What are we
Mark.
talking about?
It's uncoffee. Beer and coffee and tea. Mokar play. Don't play. Mo Parquet. I like Gremlins. Jay says 304 AMC. You guys can have those. Dean, Chevy Hemi. You didn't sound Australian. Glenn Nickerson is here. Welcome, Glenn. Mrs. Spec is the law. The law.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Hemi. Low. Kind of Brit mix. Dean Stevenson. That's what she said, but that's not what she meant. Mo Parquet. Makes for an expensive day. Chevy. Chevy Hemi. Yeah, Kanekistan is what I call it. Jay. Welland, not too far from Buffalo. Buffalo. Mark. We're not too bright. LOL. Dean. Nice. Chevy Hemi. Can I buy the BBC? You don't want it. They're in bad way right now. Chevy Hemi says to Jay, yeah, without the snow. Here, now my hand is frozen in this position.
Dean says Canadians are very smart, Mark, especially the French ones.
Does anybody want a two-wheel drive Ford Bronco that never was sold in the U.S.? Technically, it's not a Bronco. It's a carryall, but it looks like a Bronco, and it's two-wheel drive. And it's two-tone paint. Got to give it that.
Hollywood says Brampton is Bangladesh. Chris says, and Rochester is near Buffalo. You want some drink? No, you can have it. No, you can. Yeah, you can have
I've
it.
got my water.
Yeah, but that one's warm.
No, I don't want warm. Warm puts me to sleep.
Yeah. Barry says, Chevy Hemi, have you got Smoky Unix Experimental 302?
Hey guys, I need y'all to go over to my YouTube channel and look at the video that I just posted and then tell me how the flow is with the narration, because I did a voiceover and then I put it with the two pictures or one picture, and then I saved that and then went on to the next one and then came back and put all the videos together. So tell me if there's a good flow through on the narration, or do I have to cut the I don't know what you call it, at the beginning of a narration there's like a fraction of a second that you don't say anything. Just tell me how it flows for you. And it's a beautiful car on top of that. A very, very special car that nobody in the US has one.
Wait. Mark says to Dean, I represent that law.
Represent that?
Yeah, not resent, represent.
Not resent. Okay.
Jay says Smalley belongs. Hashtag Smalley belongs.
Smoky.
Smalley. Chevy Hemi says BBC lol, you can have it.
Yeah.
Kaden Play says okay. Chevy Hemi says Yannick's engine is in a shrine lol. Jay says I thought we were on your YouTube channel.
Yes, but after this, I just posted the video. It's a 1984 Chevrolet.
Kaden Play says you're asking for constructive criticism. I won't be less than honest.
Go for it, Kay. I want to know how it sounds to you guys. If it sounds okay, then I'll leave it the way the next one I'll do. Or if not, to make it sound like there's no cut there.
Chevy Hemi says my spelling's getting worse. So Barry says he used to be near Jack Benny. Mark says the McDonald's in Buffalo near the bridge to Niagara Falls had the best girl behind the counter. I have never been so well served than at that place.
So you'll drive back there just for her?
That's how my friend got married, by the way.
Yeah, he did. And he's still married to her.
That is literally how my friend got married.
But it was Burger King. It wasn't McDonald's.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Mainstream Mopers here.
Hey, Ken. Welcome.
Una says Funk, yeah. The roof still comes off.
Yeah, it is a removable roof. It's just like a Bronco except for the tailgate, and it's two-wheel drive. And supposedly Ford never sold a two-wheel drive full-size Bronco in the U.S. Like so they did sell some two-wheel drive K5 Blazers, but well, it would be a C5 Blazer. But they never sold a two-wheel drive Bronco. Supposedly, you get different answers to that question from different people.
Uno says, "Do I get a discount, please? I'm friends with the owner's wife." Lol. Kate on Play says, "I turn captions on, then shorten the silence." Uh, Kate on Play says, "Then remove captions."
Captions. Well, what do the captions do for you?
Mm. It's been a while since I edited a video, especially with the tool that you're using. Um, Jay says, "Ooh, I like that K straight shooter, no filter." Mark says, "My wife and I would go back to that place for sure."
You have to bring your wife. Okay, so you don't end up with a counter girl as your concubine. That's the nicest way to say it.
Yeah. Jay says, "We have all the hot girls here in Buffalo."
That's a joke, Jay. We got the joke.
Chris says, "Wait, you had a friend get married in Niagara Falls?"
No, we were at a car show here that Mrs. Spec and I were working, selling all kinds of stuff, taillights and all that stuff. And he happened to be with us after the show Saturday night. We went over to Burger King, and the girl behind the counter, I don't even know how it happened, but he ended up marrying her, and he's still married to her. And Lester, he was the guy that worked on your car and put the new tires on and everything. So yeah, he's the guy that owns the suspension shop and tire shop here. A good friend.
Yeah. Uno says, "Tailgate? What's the difference?"
There's no keyhole. It's gone. There's no keyhole. It's just a flat tailgate compared to the tailgate that they put on the U.S. versions.
Chev-
The window still goes up and down, but there's no accessibility to it from the back of the truck.
mm, Chevy Hemi says, "BBC probably will pay for the publicity."
They're gonna pay a lot for what they did. Yeah,
Dean Stevenson says, "No such thing as bad press." Chevy Hemi.
sometimes it is.
Chevy Hemi says, "I know, right?" Kate on Play says, show you where you spoke."
Oh yeah. Well, the audio uh, file underneath the pictures shows where I speak, but I just don't know how it sounds. I mean, does it sound like I splice together different videos, or does it sound like I'm just narrating the whole thing? That's what I want to know from you guys. I'm a little biased. I can't tell.
Uno says, "They sold two-wheel drive Broncos here, mostly fleet sales and almost always white."
In Canada, you're talking about. It wasn't in the U.S. And they sold two-wheel drive Bronco 2s, but in the U.S. they never sold a two-wheel drive full-size Bronco. The Bronco 2s, they sold a lot of them.
Jay says, "Did you guys watch Vice Grip Garage get that Pantera in Ontario and drive through Buffalo?"
No, I didn't. Way too long of a video for me to watch.
Chevy Heavy says, "Yes." Glenn Nickerson's here.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I
Uh,
announced his arrival.
Hi, Glenn. They say, "Niagara Falls, slowly I turn, step by step, inch by inch." I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk.
Okay. Chevy Hemis is low. Dean Stevenson says, "If the BBC just paid a royalty to the big block Chevy for using its initials, I'm sure everything will work out. Will work out okay." Chevy Hemis says, "I almost married my first barmaid back in the 80s, low."
Your first? How many barmaids have you had?
Uh, Uno says, "Oi, Señora Spec, after the delicious dinner, maybe whisper in his ear about a discount for your Canadian cousin."
Most of what I charge on a car is travel and transport. So it's not like I can give a discount on that because I actually have to travel out to the vehicle with hotel rooms and then transport it back. I have to get back and then I have to transport it to the border. So most of what I make, most of what is brought in for the car and for moving the car to the border.
Yeah. Chevy Hemi says Mirada.
Nobody
Uh,
wants one of those.
Barracuda says most of the girls I've seen lately look like buffaloes bison.
They have gotten bigger, haven't they?
Tatum places. Oh, okay. Chevy Hemi says Lowell Barry. Hollywood says Monte Carlo SS video.
Yes, sir. That's the one.
Uno says the SS video sounded normal. The Beatles short music if way too loud.
I lower the video
The
the
volume.
music. I put -12 on the volume, and it brings it way down to what it normally was. So I'll have to bring it down farther, I guess.
Uno says not the wheel drive uh, is made it up here.
I wouldn't expect them to be selling any two-wheel drive anything in Canada. You guys get covered in snow every year. So what's the point of having a two-wheel drive?
Chevy Hemi says too many barmaids. Haha. Uno says Oshiro they did standard two wheel drive after 86. I've never seen one here. Now I want one.
It's weird that they wouldn't sell them in the U.S., but they'll sell two-wheel drives in Canada.
Barracuda says bar person. Yes, bar person. Buff del Campo says you're still
Oh, okay.
alive. Hi, Buff.
Hi, Buff. Look at this car that's on the screen. This is a Mexico only made car that they put two cars together. They put the Spirit from the rear end and the Concorde from the front end, and they sold it. It's called a Lerma, Lerma. Some of them were made. Supposedly, this car was presented to AMC in the U.S., and they said, no, we're not going to make it because this was 1981. They were like, at the end of their life. And they said, no, we're not going to build this. But the representative of the Mexican company that went there came back to Mexico and told the story that they were just jealous that they didn't think of it first, so they didn't want to make the car. That was a story he told the whole country of Mexico when he came back. It's an interesting car. It came in a 2-door, 4-door. This was the luxury version of the AMC type car here. And when luxury options were not allowed to be brought in from the US anymore in 1983, they discontinued the car because they couldn't get the power window switches. They couldn't get all of the luxury items that Mexico didn't want in the cars anymore.
mm, Hollywood says Monte Carlo SS video is fine in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
Chris says two-wheel drive with snow tires is better in the snow than four-wheel drive on all-season tires.
Well, but how about four-wheel drive with snow tires?
But that wasn't an option.
Well, there's more than just those two options.
Jay says, I wonder if they got the saying "I'm loving it" after your buddy married the fast food girl.
I'm loving it with McDonald's, Jay. They met in Burger King. I'm
Yeah.
glad Burger King's gone. We don't have Burger King here anymore. They didn't survive the pandemic.
Debbie Hemi says, snow is getting scarce compared to the 80s around here.
Are you complaining that there's less snow?
Mark says, I've had two-wheel drives most of my life and really never had issues with them in the snow, even before they mandated snow tires here in Quebec.
Hmm.
Bob del Campo says, what does Lerma mean?
Are you going to tell them?
What does it mean? Is it the name of the town?
It's a name of a city in Mexico, in the state of Mexico. That's where they named it after the city in Mexico. I'm not sure if it has a meaning up above that.
Yeah, me neither. Glenn Nicholson says two-wheel drive rules after a snowstorm. You can really get wheel drive cars sideways down the road.
Yeah, well, most four-wheel drives you can make it two-wheel drive, and just have the four-wheel drive when you need it.
Chevy Hemi says, had a 4x4 since I started driving. Still have my 79 K20 with the plow long
Plow
with plow. Well,
to plow the snow. Yeah, well, you've seen a lot of high dollar lowered Blazers, full size Blazers, because they were made two wheel drive. Nobody's ever been able to do that in the U.S. with a Bronco because they're all four wheel drive, or they have to convert it to two wheel drive. Well, this one is a really nice truck, ready to go with two wheel drive from the factory. So no messing about.
Jay agrees with Chevy Hemi. He says, 3 times I said I'm never going to own a snowmobile anymore. This time I mean it. Hollywood says, two-wheel drive Ram Charger slash tail duster sold in Canada. Windsor doesn't get snow like most of Canada. I drove an 84 Ram Charger two-wheel drive as a daily 10 years ago. No issues.
Yeah, the majority of our Ram Chargers here, the square body ones, were two-wheel drive. There were a few four-wheel drives that were sold. They could be ordered that way, but the majority were two-wheel drive here. So, and very nice ones, fully loaded, decked out, limited, stuff like that.
Chevy Hemi says, lol, fun. And then they say, I never complain. Chris says, winter isn't winter without at least one proper blizzard. Hollywood says, keep in mind that truck slash SUV fad is recent. People drove rear wheel drive cars in the winter.
Yeah, but there's always been four-wheel drive trucks. Chevy had four-wheel drive trucks. The square bodies were all, and the K5 Blazers, and even four-wheel drive Suburbans. They were all available in four-wheel drive long, long, long time ago.
Mark says, depends if the four wheel drive is primarily front drive or rear drive. And Jay says, I used to deliver pizzas in my rear wheel drive 1979 Cutlass as a kid. Good times.
Pushing that snow around.
Bob del Campo says, cars are named after cities all over the place. I didn't know Lerma is a city.
Yeah, it's not something that most people know. It's not a name that just falls off the tongue. I probably would not have used it on that car. I would have come up with a much nicer name for
Mark says to Jay, LMAO, 1980 Malibu wagon here.
it.
Chevy Hemi says Mali Blue. Uno says, is Mexico City in Mexico State? Is it a triple Mexico?
It's like Washington D.C. is the federal district. Same thing with Mexico City. It's inside the state of Mexico. So, and the state of Mexico, Estado de Mexico, is very big. So when I'm looking at cars over there, I look at how far away it is from the hotel that we're going to stay in. So I know where to get the hotel, because it could be close to the hotel, or it could be all the way on the other side of DF, which you have to go all the way around or all the way through, and then you get back into the state of Mexico on the other side too. So, but it is considered a state here. They call it Distrito Federal, and now they changed that to Ciudad de Mexico, CDMX. So they keep changing their name around, but it's the same thing as Washington D.C.
Jay says, yes, awesome, Mark. My dad had a 1979 Malibu wagon when I was little. When I was little. Bob del Campo says, Buddy Carofano just beat you to my life.
Well, Mark was first on my live.
uh, Mark says, yes, Mexican spec, but people that would have those square bodies were farmers and contractors.
Hmm.
Barry says the heaviest snow I've experienced covers the ground overnight and is gone by the afternoon.
Oh, okay, but you don't live in a snowy area all the way over there.
Jay says, Uno, it's actually Mexico. And Danny Boy says, Cincinnati ain't tipping tonight. Mark says to Jay, I still have my 79 Malibu drag car. Chris says to Barracuda, come visit us in the mid-January if you want to experience a real winter.
If you can even get in there, how is a plane gonna land?
Jay says, nice, Mark. My second J body was an 80 Cutlass.
G body.
Yeah, J body.
Well, the 80 Cutlass would have been an A body, right? It wasn't a G body until 1981.
I don't know.
Technically, it's technical.
Hollywood says, just saying most families don't drive trucks slash SUVs. They drove sedans.
Yeah.
Barry says, I don't want that reality.
If you can avoid it, that's best.
Barry says, plenty of snow in the mountains in winter. Jay says, no, G body after 79, I'm pretty sure. Chris says, planes land here just fine in the winter. Airports have their own plow teams and de-icing equipment.
Yeah, but you have to trust them. Does anybody remember the Citation X11? This is a very nice one I'm going to be publishing. They all had 2.8s in them with 4-speed manual transmissions. I don't think they had air conditioning though. Could probably use a little bit of touch up. That might be dirt on the front bumper or maybe fading paint. I'm not sure.
I think it's fading paint.
It looks sharp in red.
I'm still itchy from that stupid mosquito. Glenn Nickerson says SUVs are the reason why so many people end up off the road in the first snowstorm. And they think they are invincible, and common sense and driving skills go out the window.
Yeah, I've experienced that too.
Mark says they still call them all G bodies anyway. My drag car is a 79 on a 78 frame. That caused some issues before I got it back. Hollywood says I haven't seen a citation in decades.
Well, here's a nice one.
Josh Homan says I like snow. I just don't like the cold required to make it. Fair, fair.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says the citations had weak transaxles. Is that true?
I never had a problem with them. It's exactly the same car as the Beretta, Corsica, all of them. Celebrity.
We had one of those.
We had the Celebrity, yes.
And the Beretta.
And the Beretta. How'd this get in there?
How many cars have you had?
There is no counting.
You're the one that put it. I didn't change anything. Mark says to Josh Homan, you are more than welcome to come shovel it here and take it away.
Can't you just use a flamethrower and melt it all?
I don't know. Chevy Hemi says snow is great at 80 feet if it stayed around long. No, 80 Fahrenheit? Sorry. 80 Fahrenheit? I'm confused. Barry says skis for planes were invented in New Zealand, by the way.
You still have to be able to stop. How do you stop if you're on skis?
Did you put the engine in reverse?
No, you cannot put the engine in reverse. There's Buff right there. He'll answer any plane questions you have.
Jay says I had to do de-icing training when I worked for Prior Aviation and Buffalo Niagara International Airport. When offered to be a de-icer guy, I declined, but volunteered to drive the truck because heater. Chevy Hemi says yes. Jay says 80s Fahrenheit. Okay, so the message was snow is great at 80 Fahrenheit if it stayed around. Mark says looks like someone farted in that Econoline law.
Kind of bloated it up. It's not an Econoline, Mark. This is a Ford F-150. Believe it or not. The grill, the taillights, the dashboard, it's all F-150. and there's no Econoline parts on this.
Barry says, as was the electric fence.
We would definitely get stopped at all the military inspections to ask us, what the hell is this thing?
And what do you have in the back? When are you going to Gustavo's shop to check on the Durango?
How would I check on the Durango?
Are you going to check on the Durango?
I did it before the trip.
I thought you were going to check on the Durango suspension.
Oh, I got time.
Okay. Buster Campos says, what did they call that stubby truck?
What stubby truck?
That stubby truck?
The carry-all? This was made by the conversion company. It's none of it makes any sense. Why anybody would order this or have it made?
Uno says those X cars had terrible front ends. Recall 2 years of builds nearly killed GM.
Well, this is an 84 model, so it got the good stuff.
Jay says Kay's not playing anymore. Mark says so the doors were modified.
Everything was modified. That is not an Econoline door.
Oh, there's a video.
It's a different vehicle though.
Oh.
Oh no, it's the same one. Yeah, that's the inside of it. 3-row seating. It's only had 2 owners and has very few miles on it. Can you believe that?
It has air in the back.
Can you believe people didn't want to drive this for 200,000 miles?
Pablo Campos says, so it didn't have a name? Is there only one or is there a production run?
No, this was made by the conversion company. It's a carry-all, just like any other. And this is how they ordered it for some reason. This car you see on the screen is a Chrysler Phantom. It was the LeBaron Coupe in the US, but it's a Phantom here. This is a very, very nice example of one, but it's an automatic. So, no thank you.
Mark says, that looked like a GM power window switch.
They might have used those.
And Jay says, digital dash?
No, it wasn't on the LeBaron. We'll see when we get inside.
I don't think so. I think he was talking about the.
No, it showed the dashboard. It was just a regular F-150 instruments.
Jay says, my grandmother had a LeBaron GTS.
GTS. Well, this was called Phantom here. I think it's a better name.
Jay says the F-150 dash had electronics. Mark says if I was into LeBarons like that, I would be looking for that Phantom emblem. Chris says I have a LeBaron GTS. Hollywood says wasn't there a Phantom RT?
I don't know if it was called the RT, but the Phantom did come with the dual overhead cam engine and a stick shift. But those are very, very hard to find. Very hard to find.
Jay says GTS was turbo. Chris says I like that Phantom.
It's the right color, it's the right interior, the right engine, but it's an automatic.
And Jay agrees with Chris.
And that's a killer for me. Because I had one of these. I bought it at an auction and we just could never get the transmission to shift right. Just could never sell the car. But this is what Chrysler did. They made below average cars, but they put these gorgeous interiors in them so you would want to drive it. I mean, who could turn down those seats for a long road trip?
Mm-hmm.
And all the little toys that it has, all the little buttons everywhere. This one I think has 151,000 kilometers on it. Coming up soon. It has AC. There's the button right there.
Chevy Hemi says iRock.
Yeah, 151,397 kilometers on it.
Pergola says my grandmother had a walking frame.
What's a walking frame?
I think it's like the.
Oh, a walker.
I think so. Jay says my grandmother died 20 years ago. Sorry, had the trauma bomb. I'm sorry, Jay.
We
Chris says, Dubari, why were you too cheap to buy her a car?
we have to admit this car is in really nice condition for its age, which is what, 35 years old, 36 years old now.
Chevy Hemi says, lol. Glenn Nickerson says, almost as nice as rich Corinthian leather.
Are you sure you don't want this car, Chris, in place of a Golf? This has lots of modifications on the engine, turbo, stick shift. I don't know about that Mopar stripe on the hood, but this guy did a lot of work, put a lot of money into the parts in the engine, a bronze clutch, all kinds of stuff. It has a transmission from a Shadow, a top of the line Shadow with two close ratio for first and second gear for racing.
Jay says, don't be sorry, Mrs. Beck, she was 95. May she rest in peace. Jay says, I like the wheels. I need new glasses, definitely. I'm seeing everything blurry.
A big selling point on this car, it has progressive wheels.
Progressive.
Bigger in the back, smaller in the front. It's a front wheel drive car. So, you know, the guy really has put a lot of work into this engine and this car. He really has. Lots of parts, lots of money spent, but the price is still very reasonable.
Barracuda says she didn't drive.
You're right, Hollywood. When I think of Mopar, this is not what I think of. I don't think of a Chrysler Spirit. What's that up on the dash? The GPS speedometer. I wonder if the regular speedometer works.
Chris says, too modified for me, but another mopper of that vintage with a manual would be very, very tempting. Bug.
Fire Beetle. Not just a beetle, but a fire beetle.
Mm.
Yes.
Olam Travis here.
Hi, Olive. Welcome. Right at the end, we've got a couple of minutes left. We have like 10 minutes of cars left to show. This is a Fire Beetle, only made in 1994 to commemorate 40 years of Volkswagen in Mexico. Only black Beetle sold up to that time. The interior only used in this. The wheels were only made for this car. This is a special car.
Mexico.
Yep. It was only made for Mexico.
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 Mexico. The guy drives this every day to work, like 60 kilometers. So the car runs really well. Could use a good detail though. And here's a video of it.
Jay says, that's an RT model, kind of like the Independence Chevelle.
Not really. Fire Beetle.
Mark says, mesito. Mesito or besito? Mesito.
Mm-hmm.
What is mesito?
I don't know. Ask him. Was that a broken windshield? Oh
No, I
no, that
think
was
it's
the line of the hood.
yeah.
The line of the front cover.
Mark says Mesito, Mexico.
Mexico. There were quite a few special edition Volkswagen Beetles made only for Mexico. There was one that I advertised. There was only 50 of them made, and it was a really good price. But the guy sold it. The customer I had on it, something bad happened in his family, so I wasn't able to close the deal. But it sold pretty soon after that because of what the car was and how good a deal it was for a car that was only 50 in existence. 51 actually. One was sent to Europe, and 50 from Mexico.
Olive says cute. I'm not a particular bug fan, but people would smile at them still, I bet.
Well, that car really stands out because of the wheels, because of the color, because of the interior. Because it's unique. People have bought sets of the wheels to put on their Beetle, but they're only Fire Beetle wheels.
And Jay says, or punch you in the shoulder when they drive by, Olive.
No, because if you did that in Mexico, you would seriously be hurt.
Chris says to Olive, I get a fair number of thumbs up when driving mine.
Right around where we are, there's one, two, three, four, five, six. There's six Beetles in the block that we live on, right around here, and three of them are drivers. Yeah, the dark green one over here also is a driver because I saw it missing there for once and then it came back. So they do drive it. Here's a two-wheel drive Ram Charger. Like all of them were two-wheel drive. This is another one I'm going to be publishing.
Chevy Hemi says punch buggy. Chris says punch buggy or slug bug.
That was only a reason to hit your brother in the back seat.
Chevy Hemi says cool slug bug name. Lol.
This is a very nice color on the Ram Charger. The deep emerald green. But see if I can get any customers on it. But I've got it set up where if we go to Chihuahua, like I did like 2 years ago, if I buy a vehicle in Chihuahua, there's no good way on the road to get back here. So my friend that owns the alignment shop, one of his customers runs the train, not the passenger train, but the train that goes from here up to Chihuahua, the city of Chihuahua. So he said for a very reasonable amount, I can put one of my cars on the train, and we can also be on the train and go from there and be delivered right here back to our town. So I've got that all set up if I buy anything there. And my buyer that bought the Volkswagen Ormigo wants another one, plus some other Volkswagens a little bit down the road. But there's a red Ormiga in Chihuahua right now, Chihuahua, right now, and I'm gonna make contact with that person and see how nice it is because he wants a really nice one. And then I'll put it on the train, and it'll be delivered basically to our door, right here.
Chris says, sorry, Chris says, we still do slug bugs in my family, but my beetle doesn't count.
Yeah, take a vacation to Mexico. See how long your kids last.
Glenn says, what's for dinner, Specs? Having homemade city as we speak. What city?
Ziti,
City.
Ziti.
Yeah.
It's an Italian thing.
Mm.
Well, I think I'm gonna have chicken breast with cottage cheese,
And I need
like
to
I
make
always
my
do.
soup. I'm gonna have soup. Um, caldo, ¿cómo se llama? Caldo de milpa. Chevy Hemi says Uncle had two bugs. He always drove them with us. Jay says that Omega is an acquired taste.
That's for sure.
And then he says noodle.
And it ain't my taste.
Granddad Young says, "Good day, Maxie brother." Hood and Mrs. Beck. Mrs.
Hey,
Maxie.
Granddad. Welcome. We're just about finished here. Mrs. Spec has to go make her soup so she could have something to eat tonight.
Yeah. Olive says pasta. Hollywood says 94 to 96 RAM charger.
Yes, it was. The 94, I think. There's not too many 95s, 96s around. They're out there, but sales were tapering off in the later years. And then the 99 came out, and woo.
Chris says ziti is a round hollow pasta, but 1 centimeter in diameter, maybe 4 centimeters long. Oh, okay, I know that one. Chris says to Grandestra, okay, Tony Barracuda says, I'm having LBTC plus sandwiches.
Okay, I got
Let's
lettuce, bacon, tomato, cheese.
could be cheese, could be cucumber. And Granddad says, Chris Brotherhood, how's it going? And Chris says to Granddad's, it's going lazy Saturday night here. How about you? Granddad says, beautiful sunny day here, out of control.
I need somebody to buy one of these Volkswagen vans from me so I could see how it drives on the highway with the 1.8 liter Golf engine that you're looking at right now, liquid cooled, which seems out of place back there, but it's in there. Powers this thing really well.
Barracuda says, and mustard.
But what's the C, Barry? What is the C in that?
Jay says, Arnold Schwarzenegger liked city. He is famous for saying pasta la vista, baby.
Yes, I'm sure he is.
Granddad says, Barracuda brother, I'm on my way for lunch. Chris says, what year is that bus?
2000, I think. 99 or 2000. It's got the high roof, so you have more room to stand up in it. One of the better ones.
Barracuda says it's cheese.
Okay. But I think this one needs bigger tires. The tires look really, really small to me, like it doesn't have much of a sidewall. Don't they look small to you?
Yeah.
I mean, they look small, right? It's not just me. And then it could be higher off the ground too with the bigger, taller tires.
Joshua says it probably holds up a mile of traffic behind it and tips over at the drop of a hat.
No, Josh, this is a liquid cooled four-cylinder engine. It keeps up with traffic very well. It's got the Volkswagen Golf engine in it. So this is not going to be holding up any traffic.
Chevy Hemi says lol needs 33-inch tires.
They started putting in the liquid cooled engine in 1988 in the Volkswagen vans here because most of them were being used for delivery services, delivering potato chips to Oxos, little stores like that. And the air cooled engine just wouldn't hack it.
Mark says bigger tires might kill the engine power.
No, I'm not talking about huge tires. I'm talking about the tires that should be on this van from when it was new. Nobody put these low profile tires on it. They should be the regular size stock tires, which will bring the van up. You'll have more sidewall and it'll be a smoother ride.
Jay says same engine my son's Porsche 924 had, I think.
Probably.
Lester says tires do look small.
You see, Chris, you said the 1.8 liter engine, there's a lot of parts over there, so you could buy one of these vans and you can have the parts. The only gamble would be that you have the radiator in the front and then you have the liquid cooled, the coolant hoses running all the way to the back of the vehicle. So I'm sure they're metal. They would have to be metal. And then you just have the hoses in the front and the hoses at the rear. So I'm not sure if you any auto parts store over there, you would be able to get them because they have to be special just for here. What I would probably do when I sell one of these is put extra hoses in the future. That's probably what I would do because there's a Volkswagen place that sells this stuff. No problem.
Dean says needs Caterpillar D6 tracks, in my honest opinion. But I'm a different. Chevy Hemi says lol, and then he says a little lol. Chris says the Vanagon had their radiator up front too. I would imagine replacing the hoses wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Well, hope not. But this is Mexico, so they used what was here, and the Vanagon, used other parts from Germany or whatever. So who knows? I have not seen the whole system. I have not taken the front grill off and seen the whole system and what's involved and everything, or even how to get to the radiator from the front. You take the big grill off. Is it a big radiator, that full size, or is it smaller and you have room to maneuver around it? And and then what happens if the metal lines from front to back have rusted a little bit, or it could be a lot of things. I don't know where they're running. They're probably running underneath the truck, I would assume.
Jay says Amazon delivering Lambo parts right now. I got my deliveries earlier today.
You didn't put Lambo in quotes, Jay. You should put Lambo in quotes.
Mark says it would be expensive, but I would swap the coolant lines with hydraulic hoses. Much tougher. Um,
Hoses. Why would you
mhm.
want hoses running the full length of the vehicle?
Mark says, lol, maybe it's a Bluetooth radiator.
No, I'm sure it's connected because the coolant has to get all the way to the engine in the back.
Dean says Volkswagen LT engine was pushrod OHV. The AMC and Audi Porsche engine was OHC.
This is an overhead cam engine in this thing. It's the engine that was in the Volkswagen Golf starting in '88.
Chevy Hemi says Bluetooth 4x4 too. Chris says for sure they're underneath the truck, probably steel lines with rubber hoses on each end.
Yeah,
Mark says they won't rust.
you never know. You don't know what kind of equipment parts they used here in the factory.
Dean says Bluetooth cooling. Yeet.
Only in the air cooled ones.
Hollywood says any idea why the third generation Ram Charger ended production in 2001? Makes no sense why they weren't offered in the US or Canada.
They weren't offered in the U.S. because if you what was happening in the market in 1999 for the two-door vehicles, the full-size Blazer going out of production, full-size Bronco gone. The Expedition replaced it. Nobody in the U.S. wanted a two-door anymore. Everybody went to the four-door. So it didn't make any sense to introduce a new vehicle to the market in the U.S. when nobody was buying what was offered at the start. That was already there. That's probably why they didn't do it. And I don't know why they ended in 2001. Probably because of the sales. They used the parts that they had and they went on to the next thing.
Dean says, oh, the tiny little Audi Volkswagen overhead cam. Jay says, yes, the 924 engine was overhead cam and it said it was used in their Volkswagen vans too. Josh says, sharp and thick car.
How could they say it was used in the Volkswagen vans when Mexico was the only one using it and that started in '88? There were no 924s in '88. They were 944s.
And Granda's Junk said, that's very cool. We made this.
It's a very nice car. Unfortunately, nobody wants cars like that. Fluid drive. Plymouth.
Josh says, that's a good restoration.
This Suburban is a really nice vehicle. Very, very nice. Lots of different colors, but very nice. These people need a much better detail shop because that door looks a different color than the rest of the fender and the quarter panel.
Mm-hmm. It is a different color. Olive says, I suspect the Ram Chargers actually got badly outsold by the Broncos and Blazers and stuff. Oh, good suburban.
Yeah, but what we're saying is that the Ram Charger stopped production and stopped being sold in the U.S. in '93. It continued in Mexico until '96. Took '97, '98 off, and the third gen '98, '99 came out, but was never offered in the U.S. But that's because everybody went to the 4-door trucks. Nobody wanted 2 doors anymore. All of the companies went to 4 doors. So, I mean, Dodge didn't have a 4-door truck to sell, but still, not an enclosed 4-door anyway. But it
Grand
wouldn't have sold over there.
Granddad says these are real cars.
Metal, metal, metal. You're not getting any stronger metal than this. But anyway, we've been on for over 2 hours, so I think it's time to make food or something.
Okay.
I had a few too many marshmallows. So I want to say it to everybody that was on our live on Monday for the 6 hours. Thank you very much for keeping us company. It made the drive much more interesting, and I hope you were interested too to see how it was out on the highway and the bickering between Mrs. Spec and I, which probably makes it more interesting for you. I appreciate everybody being there, and hopefully we'll be out buying another vehicle and driving it down from Monterey or from Chihuahua or whatever. And if we happen to have our own little room on the train coming back, we could have a live from there.
Yeah.
You could just point the camera out the window and watch everything shooting by, shoom, shoom, like that.
Oh, we do this thing, I
Yeah,
think.
we haven't been on a train around here, so I don't know how how comfortable the seats are going to be and everything. It's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty long trip to get from northern Mexico back to here, and so it'll be an interesting experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll keep you all advised of what we're going to do next, and hopefully it'll be another road trip
Yeah.
because we didn't even consider it, back when we bought the green Ram Charger up in Monterey, but we come through some pretty sketchy inspections and the guy checking the registration and everything, making sure it was current. I don't remember where that was, but and then the truck that turned over next to us at nighttime, that we could have had all that on camera,
Yeah.
even in the dark.
The accident. We
Yeah,
could
the
have
accident.
gotten.
Yeah, the accident. So anyway, thank you everybody for being here, and we will see you next time.
Thank you guys. Bye
Bye.
bye.